Hello and thanks for joining us on the program Viewpoint. And today we're talking about a tropical issue that concerns every one of us. A couple of days we woke up to the news of a building that collapsed somewhere in Anambra State. And other than dwelling on what has happened, the focus on today's program is how do we ensure it doesn't happen again. And with me in the studio, we have the pleasure of having Barrister Chukwuemeka Francis Maduekwe, the Chairman, Managing Director of Anambra State Physical Planning Board. You're welcome, sir. Thanks for being on the program. And of course, to balance the program, we also have with us in the studio, Ichie Builder Kenneth Nabrife Induka. He's the National President of the Nigerian Institute of Building. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the program.
Thank you very much.
Like we said, the focus now, it's not really on what happened, because that's what a lot of people want to listen to, what happened. It has happened. We've had incidences where buildings have collapsed in Anambra State. That's not the focus. The focus is what's the way forward. How do we ensure that between your commission, which is the physical planning, and then the Association of Builders, I think is also, people are also like the regulatory bodies for people who want to build, you know, where people would habit. How do we ensure this doesn't happen again?
It's not possible to completely eliminate the collapse of buildings once the buildings are done by human beings.
Okay.
One of the most regulated industries in the world is the aviation industry, but it doesn't stop planes from crashing. The key thing is that each crash, you learn something new.
Okay.
And make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
Everything we need to stop the collapse of buildings, every knowledge is available to mitigate the challenge of collapsing buildings.
So what's the problem?
We need to do proper enforcement, and then of course involve all the professionals in the building industry to ensure that what we have referred to in another program as internal quackery is stopped.
Okay.
In our board, we have plans which look very good.
On paper?
On paper. Excellent. These plans we send when we look at the planning parameters and it's okay. You send to the engineer to look at the structural. We don't have enough engineers in-house, so we rely on the engineers in the local government.
Okay.
And most of the time they sign off. But then the professional, the person who is developing, also comes with his own professionals. Mm-hmm. One of them is the engineer. We require them to give us an undertaking that what is on this plan is going to be built according to specification. Mm-hmm. Of course, they do it. We found out that in some of these cases, these so-called professionals are quacks. And he says that, well, internal quackery means, like my friend has said, where those who are trained are practicing their profession in an inappropriate way. So you find people who just sit down and stamp documents without vetting it properly.
Okay, let's come to you, Ichie Kenneth. As the national president, so it goes beyond Anambra State because you're representing Nigeria when you talk about builders, the building association. And then in the layman's view, like me, if I'm putting up a structure, I'm building. So somehow there's synergy between the institutes that you represent and anybody that is building in Nigeria. And we're saying a way forward. I like the word he used, quackery, in this. How does the Institute of Building enforce or ensure that you don't have quacks in those kind of settings where people, human life and properties worth, millions can be lost?
I want to say that building development project is a teamwork.
Okay.
The fact that buildings are designed does not guarantee that those buildings will be executed properly.
So who makes up this team?
The architect, the engineer, the quantity surveyor, the builder, the town planner, the land surveyor, the estate surveyor.
Not too many cooks spoiling the broth?
No, each and every one of them have a specialized input to make in the successful delivery of a building project.
Okay.
And the important thing is that the builder and the estate surveyor are actually the last people to attend to the building. because it is when the builder, every design and everything has been done, that the builder puts the building into place and it is fit for human habitation, that he hands it over to the estate surveyor to market for off-takers. That is the end users. So for us to ensure that this is done, first thing I will say is that anybody who wants to engage into a building project must ensure that the appropriate professionals, specialists are engaged. In terms of building, the execution of the building projects, for the building project to be executed, all the building production documents must be properly designed and duly professionally attested. What I mean by building production documents are the drawings, the design drawings. And if you're talking now about that design drawing, if you accept it, then you engage a professional builder. That professional builder should do what is called buildability analysis. Buildability analysis has to do with what is designed. Is it buildable? If it is buildable, how is it to be built? You have construction planning. The construction planning will define how the methodology, what should be done and how it should be done. You have what we now call project quality management plan. That project quality management plan will give you an opportunity to know how long that building is supposed to be done. Okay. If the architect or the engineer is coming, the plan will tell him when I'm going to cast concrete, when I'm going to do block work. He will now come in because he has to come and inspect his design in accordance with his own input. Okay. But the delivery of the building proper rests with the builder. And the third very vital document has to do with health and safety management plan. Because the fact that the building collapsed is a matter, safety has been compromised.
Of course, absolutely.
Quality has been compromised.
Absolutely.
And the resources have been compromised. So in doing this, we have a document that is called the National Building Code. It is my sincere expectation that the state government should look at that document and domesticate it in Anambra State.
So, Barrister Chike, we don't have that National Building Code in Anambra State yet.
It has not been domesticated.
Domesticated means what? Ensuring that
domesticated means that identifying the peculiarities of Anambra State,
okay,
and apply the content of that code to address the peculiarities of Anambra State.
Okay.
So that when you are, like now in Anambra State, we don't have locations where we have chippings. If you want to buy gravels for a project in Anambra State, you have to go outside Anambra State, either Ebonyi or Abia or Ogoja, that is Cross River, or Edo State, okay, or Abuja.
Okay.
Now, but we have stones that are peculiar here. They call it iron stones in locations like Umunze. Anambra State, we have a lab. We need to identify the locations of these respective stones.
That's the raw material testing lab.
Identify the quality.
Okay.
So that when you are designing and domesticating it, you will say if you are building a house in the neighborhood, if you are using this one, this is the quantity, if you are using this one. So that nobody can just come and have an omnibus approach into using materials.
Okay.
When you are, if it is domesticated, you will probably know what is it that you require in terms of the strength of a block that should be used. You know there are different types of block makers. But if you have this minimum standard and somebody moves to that site and sees the block that is being used, he applies the test, and if it doesn't work, then you stop the work.
Barrister Chike, let me ask you this. How do people get approvals for erecting, developmental projects? Because the development projects, one of the complaints people hear is sometimes approval is given, let's take, for example, a bungalow or a single-story building or a residential area. And the builders, architects, the whole regulatory agencies, somehow there's a compromise in between. And it's not, the building is not, done for what it was approved for. If it was approved for a bungalow, it becomes 1 decking, 2 decking, 3 decking. First of all, from a layman's point of view, I know that the foundation is not strong enough to carry it. So how do you control that?
We must confess that there are challenges which the board is facing. For instance, you are talking about people complaining that, plans are not implemented the way we approved it. Mm-hmm. Part of the challenge I have is that when I hear these things, I ask those who are complaining, please, let me have a written petition or, complaint.
Yeah, something you can work with.
Details,
yes.
So that we can discipline those who are doing it. I've had those reports, and then when you ask them to come with details, you never see them again. But all these challenges, we have determined that we must stop it. And one of the ways to stop it, apart from strict enforcement of the laws as they are now, is the collaboration we have just achieved with the different professional bodies.
Okay, you know what we'll do? We'll take a short break now. Once we come back, then we'll talk about this collaboration between the different professional bodies. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. And before the break, we were talking about the synergy between the Physical Planning Board and the Builders Institute of Nigeria in finding a synergy that would work for, I think, every one of us at the end of the day, everybody. Yes. So what's the synergy about?
Well, first of all, the synergy is to ensure safety of the construction environment, of delivery of buildings. We are not happy that we are losing innocent souls in these collapsing buildings. So what we have done, the governor has asked us, first of all, to ensure that all professionals involved in the problems that we are seeing are dealt with.
They would face sanctions.
Very seriously.
So when you say professionals involved, what does that mean?
It would include, the structural engineers, the architects,
all the professionals,
everybody that is in the construction.
So anybody who has appendixed his signature, certifying that building, yes.
And you certified, and we find out that you did that certification just for a fee, and you didn't bother to vet
or inspect.
You'll be in trouble.
So whoever appendixed his signature is going to be held liable, like a criminal responsible.
And we will charge you to court.
Okay.
And ensure that you face the full wrath of the law. Because government exists to secure the lives, property of its citizens.
Absolutely. I think that's their sole responsibility.
That's the basic responsibility of government. And this government will not allow quacks and irresponsible professionals to continue to do things the wrong way. Coming to the collaboration I'm talking about, I must say that it's not easy and it's impossible. There's no state, including Lagos, that has enough resources, manpower, human resources, to do post-approval monitoring.
What's post-approval monitoring?
When the different professionals like the engineer, the local government, and everybody have signed off that this plan is good. It doesn't end there. We must have professionals in the building industry who inspect and make sure that every stage of that approval, that you do it according to specification. No state can do it. In 2010, Lagos, in a space of 3 years, I believe, had over 55 buildings collapse. And they had to do something.
Yeah.
They changed their law, created 3 agencies in the law. The Lagos Permit Agency, which is similar to what we do.
Okay.
Anything above it
must come to the state.
Where we sit down, every plan that comes, the professional bodies nominate members to the committee, whose responsibility will be to check that the architect that has done the plan is a registered architect, and is still current.
Okay.
The engineers will look at their own professional colleague, is it proper? And then look at what has been done. Can it fly? Once they say yes.
So now it's a synergy of all these regulatory bodies ensuring.
And this is as a result of the interest of these professionals in Anambra to make sure that this challenge is mitigated.
Okay.
And we're going to pay them some kind of stipend. We can't pay much, but to make sure that things are done properly.
Okay.
And after the vetting, they will be responsible for nominating their various professional colleagues who will do the monitoring stage by stage.
Okay.
And if the buildings collapse, we will hold them responsible.
Is it you they're going to hold responsible? Well, we're talking about this building control agency, and you said it's absolutely something we need in Anambra. What's the purpose of it?
The job that the agency now is performing is mostly policy and plans.
Okay.
After a building project, a building drawing has been approved, and the work has kicked off the ground, there should be an agency that should monitor stage by stage and sign off on behalf of the owner of the building, on behalf of the agency, and on behalf of the general public.
Which is where the building control agency comes in.
So that the right thing is done in terms of safety, in terms of quality, and in terms of its environmental perspectives.
Okay.
So we must say that we appreciate the concern that the state governor had over this collapse, and he will help us. And the State House of Assembly will help us first, one, to domesticate this national building code.
Okay.
Two, to ensure as much as possible, and urgently too, that this building control agency is set up. Otherwise, the bulk of responsibilities should be heaped on the physical planning board.
Okay.
Whereas the expectations, the responsibilities are not theirs. They will be given challenges that, as at now, they are reposed with challenges that they are hamstrung from performing. So we need that building control agency as a matter of urgency, so that once they finish their work, they hand it over to them.
Okay.
And the building control agency will now ensure that what they approved is done. Once they have any deviation, they will call them to order. And when they call them to order,
so they're like the little policeman in the system.
We call the professionals that handled it to order, and they will have a platform to have those people prosecuted.
Okay. We've been talking with Barrister Chike Madwekwe, the chairman, MD, Physical Planning Board, and of course, Ichie Builder Kenneth Nabuife Nduka. Thank you so much for being with us. But we'll wrap up by saying, it's our primary responsibility. If you see something, say something. Yeah. The government is there to protect you. If you know that people are building to standards that are, less than what should be, government can't be everywhere at the same time. So it's also our responsibility to reach out to all these agencies. I know Barrister Chike had said that you can always write a petition. Even if you don't want to give out your names, write a petition, put the address and everything, and say, please come and check this out. I might not be sure, but I think something is wrong. And I think at the end of the day, it could save all our lives. Thanks for being with us. My name is Ifunaya Amafili. Join us same time next week. Goodbye.